You're on the move with Drake's
He's
moving
moving.
podcast. Is that any better? Is that any better?
Yeah. I think you're good now.
It sounds better.
We're just gonna take it from the driver's seat.
There you go.
You're in the driver's seat.
On
That's
the
the
morning
podcast.
drive.
All right, 2, 3, 4. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna.
We got the local chopper flying around
Basketball.
Golden, Colorado. Yeah, that seems better. Boys, what do we know? Do we start with the well, Illini didn't play last weekend, right?
No go here.
All right. Ev, let's talk about our RB1 and the Hawkeye dub.
All right.
Robbie, well, first of all, I kind of want Robbie. Do you find this dub I don't want to say impressive, but it's not an easy win game, even though this Penn State team is, dropped 4 straight now.
Based on the momentum at the half, I think it was an impressive bounce back. I will say this will be a pretty big test ahead as we preview the next game for Iowa. To me, you can only beat the teams on your schedule, and they did that this week by handling Penn State. But to this point, they haven't beat a team with a Power 5 win. So it's still Penn State. It's a logo on a helmet, or lack of, I guess. But yeah. So I find that part impressive.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you, Bob. And the way that the game flow went, it's like Iowa doesn't win that game any of the last at least 3 years, probably. With, we're used to as Iowa fans, like, oh, if we're down double digits, like it's kind of the inverse of that Kirk Ferentz rule, where when he's up 8 points, like he usually wins. It's like lately when Iowa's been down double digits, like you're not going to go score a bunch of points very quickly, and just cool to see them score on their last 3 drives and get it done.
It's just fun seeing them have breakout plays. It's fun seeing them, like, it just doesn't feel like an Iowa team to really to do that. I don't really remember a quarterback running that far for a very long time, and he did it multiple times. So just cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah, and continue to be impressed with the defense too. I think they really I mean, they were given a short field to start the game, and then obviously they scored those other points right before the half on the blocked kick. So I think, even with the backup quarterback playing in Kinnick at night, I still think that Penn State team wasn't totally dead, and I think the defense really stood up as well, which kind of gets overlooked.
Yeah, Evan is the captain now.
Yeah,
So
Evan, you have the ship.
so
Yeah,
as
Evan, do you
far
want to just host the rest of it, kind of?
yeah, yeah.
All right, 2, 3, 4. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
works well. So as far as the rest of the games last week go, I I didn't get a chance to, I was at a wedding, so I didn't get a chance to watch a ton of them. I watched kind of the morning slate, right? So
Yeah.
the one that surprised me, I really felt good about Washington going into Michigan. I just felt like after seeing Michigan's performance at USC, like with that offense, like with Jed Fish going in there, I really felt like they had a good shot. But yeah, I was kind of surprised to see Michigan just kind of pull away with it at the end. I mean,
Yeah, I think Washington's offensive line's kind of beat up. But I
yeah,
think, you say that about Michigan getting beat last week and then, Washington going to Ann Arbor this week. To me, that just kind of highlights the difficulty of the travel situation.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then you throw in USC as well. I I mean, since they've joined the Big Ten, and I know Notre Dame's not a Big Ten game, obviously, but it kind of feels like one. Um, have they won
I
a game where they have gone more than two time zones? I don't like
I don't even think they've won a game outside of the state of California in 2 years.
right.
No, I mean I think they beat
That's
UCLA at UCLA last year.
okay.
Other
Gotcha.
than that, I don't think they had any road wins last year, and trending the same this year too. So
It's just nuts. It just goes to show like whenever a team is hopping that far away, you should always bet the other team. It's not always going to hit, but you should if you did it for every team, you'd be making some coin for sure. Um, Mississippi State, Florida. Florida just continues to like beat teams and win games. This time they said it wasn't good enough. We're not going to let Billy Napier survive um, one more week. But man, it would be hilarious if they just, kind of went on a tear with the tough schedule they got left, but like sets up for, some potential
they,
upsets still the rest of the
yeah,
year.
they could spoil a couple other seasons. And Mississippi State's another team that could spoil a season 4 team on their schedule left too.
Absolutely. Yeah. One theme, and I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this too. One theme that with all these coaches getting fired this year, there's a lot of like dead cat bounce going on of like, it seems that almost all the teams that had their coaches fired, except, we'll see what Florida ends up doing, but like Arkansas continues to play really close, really well with now the number, what, 4 or 5 team in the country last week against the
Yeah,
Aggies. Um, those boys are playing for Bobby Petrino, man. Um, and it just seems to be like even Penn State last week, it seemed like they had more fight in them than the previous 2 weeks. Um, yeah, it's an interesting theme. I'm curious to hear your thoughts if you guys like if you think that'll continue the rest of the year.
yeah. I mean, you can see it with UCLA too. The kids still care about football. It's unless you go to maybe the University of Wisconsin, um,
Yeah.
but overall they seem to care about kids. But I mean, that takes me into one of my notes I had for the week though was I think we had to look up the last time Wisconsin got shut out, and it was 45 years ago. And what do you know? It didn't even last a week before they get shut out again there. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But
Yeah.
I,
And I mean, they're going into
Just brutal.
a storm of tie-dye and maybe nightmares this week. So,
the Dark Star.
yeah, exactly. But um, man, that Mississippi Georgia game was pretty entertaining, huh? I mean, holy cow. That was like it Georgia's been playing in games like that all year. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
so
shootout.
un-Georgia.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it's so anti-defensive football team Georgia that we're used to. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It is. It is
Yeah.
fun. I think it highlights the just parity. You know, they can't
Yeah.
stack 2, 3 deep of 5 stars anymore. It's you got to roll with the guys you have, and if they're not good enough, they're not good enough.
Yeah,
Um,
and when Georgia won this is kind of deeper, but when Georgia won their national championships, I mean, it was kind of the tail end of that era, right? Like you were starting to pay players and you were starting to,
well, they always might have been, but
well, okay, not pay players, but the NIL era, I'll call it.
yeah,
Like it, they kind of still had the tail end of that in their back-to-back title run. Yeah, it as much as you can criticize the current landscape, it does make for, like you said, a lot of parity and fun matchups. And I think, especially in the SEC, I think we'll continue to see that this year.
yeah. Well, and I got a question from Drake here as to was this one of the slower weeks in college football? I don't know. We did have big games: USC, Notre Dame, the Georgia, Ole Miss. We just talked about uh, Tennessee, Alabama. It's just none of those results were shocking. I think the favorites all won,
Yeah.
uh, including Vanderbilt, LSU, Vanderbilt winning. The one I think, well, two big shocks I think of the week go to Miami falling in that Friday night game.
Yep.
Um, I mean they were kind of solidly that number 2 team in the country, and just goes to show anyone can get anyone. And then the other one too
Yeah.
was Memphis going down to UAB. Got pretty big group of 5 playoff spot implications on that one. UAB, another one, interim coach, got a win on the road as a 23-point underdog.
That
So
was yeah,
pretty
another
cool.
bounce. Yep.
But do you have any more notes on last week?
Um, Texas Tech getting beat was a pretty, I mean, that ended up being a
Yeah,
pretty big game too, man. I mean,
because they
that,
couldn't throw the tortillas on the field.
yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh. And did you see, I don't know if you saw that video of when the Arizona State fans were storming the field and they dropped the goalpost and
No,
it was like,
someone get crushed
it
or
was within, I don't know how it didn't hit anybody because there were like 10 people there and you'll have to look it up, but it just like falls so fast onto the ground. And like this Texas Tech player is like, what the hell? Like, I mean, it would kill
yes,
somebody if it hit them. And they're lucky it didn't. And I'm just like,
yeah.
they need, yeah, the
I
it's so funny like how the SEC treats field storming versus like everybody else. And it's just there's no rules anywhere else, but it's yeah,
Yeah, I do think you should be allowed to storm the field. You have to have some kind of guy. You have to let the players at least have an attempt to get off.
yes.
That kind of defeats the purpose of the storm aspect. But I
Yeah,
mean, you go to a college basketball game and they have around the visitors bench, there's like the whole sheriff's department, before a
right.
storm. So
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if it's feasible to do that on a football field, but you got to protect, especially the um, players on the visiting side, in my opinion.
You do. You do. And it's like, yeah, if somehow you could have a way to funnel them all into the same area, like, so they're not all like coming at all angles at once. But it's
Well,
so hard
and
because some college stadiums, like, the that the sideline is only like, 3, 4 feet tall. So
like the hill at Virginia, there, it's like
they're
it
already on
just
the field.
it just happened that that overtime period was down on that side of the field,
True.
and no one got hurt again in that one. So maybe we're making a lot out of nothing. I've never heard of a player getting hurt during a field storm, but I mean it's just bound to happen.
It is. It's just like there's so many close calls always for sure. But yeah, no, I think that's really all I had. I think it was a good week. There were a lot of
Yeah,
every week in college football, you're going to have something that kind of throws you for a loop. So I think we got quite a bit of that last week.
yeah. I mean, one last one, I guess, and maybe this segues us into this week is just watching. I mean, Minnesota just dog walk Nebraska. I mean,
Oh
just
my God.
physically, just physically outmatched both sides of the ball on the line.
I 100% agree. And
I'll say there's an awful lot of Nebraska hate on this podcast to call them a little brother.
I think they had a 10-minute drive in the third quarter. Raiola, I mean, he was just kind of a sitting duck in the backfield. That was 9 sacks, was the most sacks Nebraska's ever given up in a game.
Yeah.
They now lead the nation in sacks. Um,
Yep.
Segues to this week, battle for Floyd or Rosedale, the pig.
Yep.
Great can edit a pig in the screen.
Yep. I hopefully will be having plenty of bacon this weekend. But yeah,
Is
this is
that
always
the
it's always
tradition? Is
fun.
you guys eat bacon, ribs?
Yeah, I
Any?
mean, I try to when it's the pig weekend, of course.
I didn't know if like all the tailgates had.
I guarantee I'm not positive, but if you go around Kinnick, you're gonna smell more bacon this day than other days of the other games of the year for sure. But no, it's always a exciting matchup. Iowa is 9 of the last 10 matchups they've won. The only one
I
they
would not have
lost.
guessed that.
What's
Yeah,
that?
I said I would not have guessed that just with the the game you're bringing up here
Yep.
now.
Yeah. Nine, the only one they've lost, labeled highly controversial by many. But it, yeah, the Cooper DeJean punt return. I think a lot of players were asked about, like, do you feel like this is a revenge game for that? And they all, of course, were like, no, we're not really thinking about that. But it's got to, like, some of them are still pretty tight with Coop, and they're probably, it's got to be on their minds in some aspect.
Yeah, I mean it has been 2 years removed, and just with
Yeah,
I think Iowa's done a really good job of player retention traditionally, but
yeah.
just with the way lineups flip over nowadays, how many of them were truly
And
there?
and they already went there last year and won, so I feel like
Yeah,
to them that was kind of their revenge. But this is the first time they've been in Kinnick since that game. I of course am still like, I think the reason people were mad about it is because like it would have been such an iconic play that, is taken away from you. Um, but you still gotta, I think they had to move the ball like 15 yards to try a field goal and they couldn't do it. So it's like that was just the state of the team that year.
yeah.
Like, yeah. But
Well,
yeah,
what's your thoughts on the game? Because it's an 8.5 point spread, and you tell me your thoughts, and then I'll counter with some of mine.
yeah, that I think that really reflects like the confidence in Iowa's running game. Like and the fact that appears to, I think there was a little hesitation, especially like you see that Wisconsin spread when Mark was potentially hurt, probably
Yep.
why it was such a small spread. Um, I think now that it appears, I mean, Gronowski had 130 rushing yards last week, had that big one at the end of the game. Um, I think that the fact that it appears as healthy, it really just opens up their run game. Obviously, the offensive line looks good. I think people are really banking on that with that spread, with Iowa just being able to control the game, the way their defense looks. Like, they held Mendoza in check relatively. Probably gives them confidence that they can do the same to Drake Lindsay. But you have to respect the opponent. I mean, Drake Lindsay's looked very good for a freshman quarterback. Um,
Well, I saw
yeah,
the over under. I think 38.5 too. So that kind of reflects that how I guess Vegas is thinking the game's going to play out too.
yes, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, you got to give Minnesota credit though. Like their run game looked a hell of a lot better last week. It looks like they maybe have found something there. And I know Nebraska doesn't have the best Russian defense in the Big Ten by any means, but still to be able to put together, like you said, a 10-minute drive that just controls the game. Like I think Minnesota and Iowa are gonna kind of try to play the game the same way. The only difference is, they probably feel a little bit better about their pass game than we do.
Well, and I haven't watched much Minnesota football this year, but it seems like they dink and dunk their way down the field, maybe as a way to kind of alternate the run game,
Yeah,
um, get the
yeah,
ball in the hands of
they
playmakers on
pass to set up the run a little bit, I think, in some cases. Yeah.
the
Um,
yeah, I guess to me it's just Minnesota's probably maybe I'm giving them a little bit too much credit. I'd put them kind of in a range closer to Iowa State maybe than I would some of the other teams Iowa's taking care of business with, like Rutgers and
yeah.
um, well, I blanking on a couple of them, but like
Rutgers, Wisconsin.
Maryland. Did they play Maryland?
No, they've
Yeah.
Rutgers, Wisconsin, Penn State, and then they played UMass and Albany, who
Yeah.
are
Okay.
just
Okay.
atrocious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think and maybe they're closer to that Penn State, Iowa State range.
Yeah.
I'm just personally a little surprised to see 8.5, but
Yeah. No, I could see that. Yeah. I think there's just a lot of confidence in Iowa's O-line and run game. I think that's where it comes from for the most part. And the fact that, they're going to get 3 points being in Kinnick with how that crowd's looked this year. Um,
is it
yeah,
at
I
night?
think what's that? Sorry.
Is it a night game?
2:30. 2:30. Yep. So yeah, I think I do feel good. I feel good about Iowa this week. I do think it'll be closer than you think, though. Like, I think Minnesota will be able to put together drives and capitalize on drives. I just think I if I had to predict a score, I'm thinking something like 24-17 range, maybe 24-20. Like, I don't think it's gonna be just this
So both
um
of those would go over
explosion.
by several points.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think you'll see a little bit of scoring in this one. Yeah.
but
But
yeah, no, I think it'll be a really good matchup. Um,
yeah, yeah. It'll be a good matchup for the pig and
That'll
then
do, pig. That'll do.
and yeah, I think with Iowa's not that Penn State had, they've obviously haven't won a conference game yet, but I think that win, it just made Iowa fans feel really, just made them like, hey, the season's still alive. Like there's still more to play for. And then you want this to just be a feel good game, but I don't think Minnesota is just going to roll over. Like it's not going to be like the Wisconsin game at all.
yeah, and I think maybe this segues us into our next game, but I think 10-2. I think there's a good chance not every 10-2 team gets in this year, but I think a 10-2 Iowa with a win that would mean they have to beat Oregon.
Yep.
I think that would put them in good position. So, which makes this a playoff elimination game for Iowa, and I think it makes Illinois Washington is a playoff elimination game as well.
Yeah. And
Um,
I tell you what, like I'm not seeing a lot of hype about this game this weekend, but I'm really excited for this Illinois Washington game. What are your thoughts?
Sailgating,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
sailgating. I think Washington. Everyone says it's an underrated venue to play in. I see Washington's favored 4.5 points. I'm curious. Maybe they're going to get bodies back on their offensive line. If they don't, they could be in trouble. Illinois, coming off their bye week, is it sounds like they're healthy in their secondary, except for their number one cornerback still going to be out for the season. But um, week off gets Illinois ready to play. I don't know what the travel looks like. I I don't know. Did Iowa win their games out west last year?
No, they did
Yeah,
not. They went out to UCLA on a Friday night and started off hot and lost. And it just by the time that game ends, their body clocks are. But what time's this
yeah.
game kick off again?
I'm not sure. It might be in that 2:30 slot, but
Yeah.
I yeah, I think it's just something with that travel and maybe it was last year Illinois went out to Autzen and just got ran over.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be it'll be 1:30 1:30 Mountain, so 12:30 local. Nice.
So yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I don't have a ton of commentary on it. I haven't watched Washington play a whole lot. So
Yeah,
what else do you have on the radar?
I'll say one more thing on the Washington Illinois game. I think Damon Williams, I feel like he looks really good at times. Like he's insanely athletic, but I also feel like um teams have been able to manage him. It seems like he gets flustered too. Like I watched that Michigan game, like I said last weekend. Once he threw the first pick, immediately threw another one. Like I don't know, he's still a very young player. I don't
Yeah,
know if the poise is quite there yet. And I think Illinois has showed enough on defense these last couple weeks, even in the Ohio State game, right? Like holding them in check relatively. I think they'll be able to fluster them a little bit, especially coming off the bye.
yeah. Quarterbacks have had pretty good days against Illinois this year. Um, just kind of across the board.
Yeah,
Um,
but you got to look at their last two opponents or last three opponents, right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
looking at maybe the three of the top five offenses in the country right now. So it's like, they're battle tested. If anything, they're battle tested.
Yeah, that they are, and yeah, this is kind of the last, I guess, challenge. I mean, every week is a challenge in the Big
Sure.
Ten, but they close out after this week. Their schedule strength of schedule is significantly significant. It's the easiest in the Big Ten after this week, and even including this week, I think it's the easiest remaining Big Ten schedule. But um, Nebraska Northwestern, that's one I had on my radar.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to backtrack too much, but Northwestern, man, I mean, I not to say Purdue's a great team, but their offenses looked good. I mean, what did they, I think they scored
19.
27, 30 points on Notre Dame earlier this year.
Yeah,
They they
they,
shut them
they put
out.
up a
They
similar
straight up
number
shut
on
them out
Illinois.
last week. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I feel good about Northwestern trajectory right now. I think they're kind of back to like the Fitzpatrick feeling teams where the lines are just set up really well. Like they probably got an NFL guy in there somewhere and just a solid group overall. They can kind of win in the trenches in a lot of games.
and you mentioned Fitzpatrick, but David Braun did win Big Ten Coach of the Year back in was it
No, no,
2023?
absolutely. I just mean more of
Yeah,
like feel of the team, like
yeah,
the way that they play feels more like those back to those Fitzpatrick years where they were like they weren't bullies, but for relatively they were bullies, I would say.
yeah. I mean, I see a team that's like you said trending up. Maybe everyone wrote them off after that early loss at Tulane.
Yeah.
Uh, but if yeah, I mean, I think all it takes is their quarterback Preston Stone just has to if he can limit his interceptions. I think they can go into Lincoln and um, looking at a team that probably physically on the lines needs to rise up to the challenge
Hmm.
um, in the Huskers, and I think we're going to find out. We're going to find out. I mean, if they lose this week, all of a sudden Nebraska's sitting at a not so happy 5-3.
Yeah, I think you're looking at a game where like yes, Nebraska has the talent, but where their weaknesses seem to be, I think Northwestern has strengths, and that poses a threat for sure.
Yeah.
What
Anything
what
else
is
you
the
had?
spread on that one, by the way?
7.5.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's in Lincoln, so I know they'd probably give them a couple points for that. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Um,
that's interesting. I'd have it a little bit closer than that still.
yeah, I'll have to keep a closer eye on that one as the week goes on. See if it goes under a touchdown or stays over. Um, other games this week, I don't want to say it's a light week, but it feels maybe a little lighter than the past couple. On paper, that's on paper. We always say that, and then crazy shit happens. But um, obviously Ole
Yeah.
Miss, Oklahoma. What were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say I kind of agree with you. I think there's not much for those marquee matchups, but
Yes.
I think it's a big week for teams that kind of find themselves in that 20 to 40 range, maybe sitting with 2 losses already
Yep.
right now.
Yep.
Um, 3 losses probably going to be a playoff eliminator. So
Right. It's
I
kind
think
of a
it's a big week
chance.
for those kind of losses to happen.
Right. It's kind of a chance for some of the, like you said, like um, those second, maybe you call it third tier teams to kind of make a statement. Other than this Oklahoma Ole Miss game, this is a huge game for the SEC. 11 a.m. kick, Central Time. It's at Oklahoma. Um, I think, yeah, the Ole Miss defense has definitely shown some holes. Oklahoma's defense looks awesome, but I don't think you can count. I don't think you can count Ole Miss out in this game at all. I think they've shown they can kind of spread it around against anybody. Um, and I think the fact that I kind of like the 11 a.m. kick for them. I like the timing on
Yeah,
it for them.
I'd rather be a visitor
Yeah, and
in an early kickoff than maybe get some of that nighttime magic. But with the nighttime magic, LSU, which hosts every other game, is a night game. I saw Lane Kiffin was complaining about it last week. Actually, Lane Kiffin's complained about his kick times a lot this year. But LSU with yet another game at night,
Yep.
hosting Texas A&M. I think that could be a huge upset spot. I don't think Texas A&M is truly that third best team in the country.
Yeah. I feel like A&M, doesn't it feel like maybe not every year, but quite a few years, they kind of get to this middle point in the season. You're like, maybe they're really good. And then they trip up and it kind of
Yeah.
all just falls apart. We'll see. I mean, this is their
They've
true
made it a
test
little
right now.
farther this year than they normally do,
Right. Yeah.
and climbed a little bit higher to that top rung.
Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But LSU's got, they have a legit defense. They're playing in Death Valley at night. It's never going to
is
be easy.
Whitweek's back this week?
I am not sure on that. I know he was out last week. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to follow up on that one. But yeah, I think, and for LSU though, I mean, it's tough. Like, here's a question: is there more pressure on A&M to keep, their season alive, or is there more pressure on Brian Kelly? Because I feel like if LSU doesn't win this, it's already, it's gonna be a disappointing season. There's no doubt about that, and they're probably out of the playoff.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a disappointing season. I don't think, regardless of the result of this game, I think they'll trip up eventually if it's not this one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they've been ones that have been quick on the trigger to fire coaches. Um,
Yep.
I could see Brian Kelly kind of as he left Notre Dame. Um, I could see him jumping ship from LSU to maybe like a Penn State or
Okay.
something at
Yeah.
the end of the year. Maybe it's framed as mutual. Maybe it's midseason firing. Um, but I don't know. This kind of was the year Brian Kelly had all his chips in the basket, getting Nussmeier to come back, and he hasn't performed like maybe he was expected to at the beginning of the season. And
Yeah.
I could see him leaving after this year. So
Yeah. And I always feel like when you kind of are backs against the wall like this, where another loss gets you out of that playoff race, probably. Um, yeah, people are not loving the head coach. I have to think that the pressure is more on LSU because, A&M they could afford to drop one here, I would say, and
yeah,
still kind of be in the race. So, and the crowds at home can be a bad thing. Like
yeah,
if it
yeah,
starts to go south, like we saw with Penn State against Northwestern a couple weeks ago, like it can start to really be a detriment. And I could totally see that happening this week.
yeah. But
Um,
yeah, that's all I had.
man,
Grateful Dead week in Eugene.
yeah. Do you think, here's another question. Um, do you think is North Carolina going to win another game? I watched that Friday night game against Cal, and they
My
literally,
immediate reaction is no. I do think they have one of the softer schedules in the
yeah,
ACC, though.
um,
We can
yeah.
have
I don't
Drake come
know.
up
I don't
or
know. I
what.
think
Yeah, I think Stanford at home. I think is a game where another very bad team's traveling across the country, and I think that week following Wake Forest, which would be less than 10 miles away from North Carolina.
right.
Um, I think Wake Forest is another team that's sitting at they're 4-2 right now, but I think
I,
that's a
I
gettable team.
I just want them to release the documentary footage. That never happened.
Something's got to leak. Something
Some
has to leak.
Something has to get. If I find anything, we will know about it. I will circulate this because
We,
I think Jordan's trying to call plays or something, to be honest.
we will do the first ever emergency podcast on the
Right. Right. Yes. And in a official review of the footage. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much else. I'm really excited about both our teams' games though. I think they'll be pretty I don't know if I want to call them even matchups, but I think they'll be tightly contested, potentially games on both sides. And I think, yeah, just both really cool environments too, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just kind of say the last thing on that is, you know, it's that 9-3 season on the line kind of feeling in both those games as well.
It
So
is. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they're fighting to stay alive. Yeah, man, let's go. Another week.
let's go. 30 seconds left. ILL.
All right, 2, 3, 4. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it!